Fred, we're about to enter into a project here that I think you and I have been talking about for a long time, and it's finally coming to some fruition. And that is having a video presentation in short segments about life and what the Book of Church Order is, life in the church and in the PCA. So I want to introduce myself first, just so that those who are going to be listening. I'm Dr. Dominic Aquila. I'm president of New Geneva Theological Seminary in Colorado Springs. I've had some experience for 50 years in ministry in the church planting, as well as running and being a pastor of churches and also seminary. The love for the Book of Church Order and order in the church arose many, many years ago when I realized that as a young pastor, I needed the structure that the church provides. And so I began to work outside of my element, which is I'm sort of a big picture guy. And I realized that I needed to be a little bit more wonky and learn those things because they would help me. And so that's the reason I'm encouraged and learned what the BCO is about and what this church structure is about. And I believe that these tapes and these video presentations will help anyone who watches it to be encouraged about participation in ministry in the church.
That's right. I think the Book of Church Order is exceedingly helpful to everyday ministry in the local church, and even beyond that to the presbytery and the General Assembly. I'm Fred Greco, and I'm the senior pastor of Christ Church in Katy, Texas, which is on the west side of Houston. And I've come to the position where I am now via being a ruling elder in a church in Ohio outside Cleveland, Grace Presbyterian Church in Hudson, Ohio. And so being a former lawyer, I am drawn to the Book of Church Order. It's been a joke throughout my life that I hold my daily devotions in the BCO. And so, but the BCO is, I think, helpful. It points out where mistakes can be made that can be damaging to ministry. It points out helpful ways to move forward in ministry. And so I'm hopeful that this video series will help members of the PCA, especially ruling elders in the PCA, who don't maybe spend a lot of time reading their Book of Church Order. They probably think that that's the job for the pastor because he's the paid professional. But to know how things are organized in the church. And as we're going to talk about, the Book of Church Order applies biblical principles that it sets forth in its preliminary principles to the everyday life of the church, to worship, to organization, to calling, to discipleship, to discipline. And I'm very excited about this.
Okay, and what we want them, anyone who watches this series, not to be afraid of is to think this is going to just be a boring Book of Church Order thing. We think we can make it very exciting. We can explain things very simply, directly. That'll be very helpful to the church, and we think that you'll enjoy the experience. So come and join.
How could you not have fun with two Italians?
Exactly, that's right. And how many Italians are in the PCA? Probably only about 5 of us.
That's right.
But we'll make, or as I like to say, we'll put the fun back in fundamentalism.
There you go.